system.
Keeping you informed so you're not the moron at the water cooler.
I arrive at the office informed.
105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome to Community Centered, a show that features people in the community doing good things. Now, here are your hosts, Debbie O'Handley and Margi Kyle.
Welcome, welcome, listeners. We are happy you are here on this Tuesday.
Oh,
I am Debbie O'Handley, and
so
I'm
glad
here
you
with
said that.
with my friend Margi Kyle. Margi, how are you?
I think I actually feel pretty good.
Yay! See, it is a Tuesday. I knew you'd give me a reason to say yay this morning.
Well, that bug that we both had lasted forever, and it just knocks you right out.
It sure did. It sure did. And I told you last week that I tried the fire cider, and I am swearing by it. I think whatever it is in it really knocked it out of me. So I am grateful that I found it in the very last of it. But it seems to be gone. So fingers crossed we stay healthy for the rest of the season. That would be awesome. So what have you been up to?
Well, I have been up to taking care of me.
Oh, thank you, Jesus. That is so nice to hear.
Well, last week was a hard week for me because it was my husband's birthday, and it was an anniversary when we renewed our wedding vows after 30 years. So that was...
You got through it.
I did get through it.
Good
His
girl.
cousin came, and we had a lovely, lovely time.
Oh.
And then last night I went to Torchbearer Tachyon.
Good.
And had a session there, which I recommend for everybody.
Good.
And then I had lunch with the gal, Corey, who does Reiki, and she is going to do another session on me and get me healed even more.
I am so proud of you for taking care of you because for so long you have taken care of so many in our community, including Lee. And so it's nice to hear you taking care of yourself.
Yeah, well, I think if you don't, nobody else will.
And it shouldn't be thought of as a luxury. It
No.
should be thought of something that's second nature to be taken care of and having that work-life balance. So proud of you. Good for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it felt good. It felt really, really good.
That's awesome. It shouldn't be a treat. It should be a practice. So we're going to work on that in 2024 for you.
Yes, we are.
So I had, on the coldest day, I am sure, of the year, Saturday, we have actually, it's been a year in the making, but we have cleared the properties for the next 3 builds. And we've been delayed a year for some very large utility companies, which shall remain nameless. The hoops that we've had to jump through for them. You know, it's so challenging for me because everyone's talking about affordable housing or lack of affordable housing in our community, but the very entities that we need to carry us forward are the ones creating some of the biggest obstacles. So, long awaited, we are pouring the concrete pads in
Good
the
for
next
you.
week. And that means that maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, 3 months from now, we'll be putting 3 new families in them. So hopefully that goes along without too much conflicts. But I had to get out of the car and film, and it was freezing, and it was really, really cold. But, you know, it really sent the message even further home to me about the need for expanding and growing affordable housing in our community. Because if I was cold and inconvenienced for just the short time that I was filming, I can imagine what someone living on the street is feeling. And this week is a very important week for us in the homeless community. We participate in something called the PIT count, which is the point in time count. So every city across our nation this week, on one night of the year, count our homeless neighbors sleeping on the street. So we start off at about 4 a.m. and we're assigned sections of the city this year. Jen and I and our team have First Ward. So we go into First Ward and we will look for folks who have been sleeping on the street.
I can't even imagine.
It is a fascinating experience. We wake them up and we have a app on our phone where we have required questions to ask them. And the purpose of this is to really just help fund the narrative for the supportive services we need in the community. We're not waking people up and promising them services. We're waking them up to better serve them, to figure out what we need to do. And so I've counted, in the rain, in the snow, in the cold, the hot. So it's going to rain this year. it's predicted to rain. But we'll be going out with Commissioner Pat Cotham. She's part of our team. Deborah Phillips, who is Block Love Charlotte, and a few other folks will be on our team, and we will be looking for individuals and collecting some data from them. And it is a very humbling experience for me to do that. And so it's really a pivotal moment for us in our community when we're out there actually getting down to the level of where some of these folks are actually sleeping. So little me, who was inconvenienced in the cold on Saturday, is going to have an awakening one night this week when we're actually counting folks who are really living in those conditions. So we have to do better. We have to do better.
God bless you for doing what you do.
I'm honored. I'm honored and I'm blessed to do it. It's I always take my takeaway from that night is always something that impacts me in a way that impacts my work, and how we can fight harder and how we can do a better job. I'll never forget the year we did it. It was 23 degrees out, and we met a man walking on the street with no socks and shoes. And I took off my socks and I gave them to him. At least give him the socks, right? And I thought, oh man, we got to do better. We have to do better. So we're working on it, and hopefully we can make a difference and leave our thumbprint.
I think every nonprofit starts with a good story.
Oh yeah, it's the narrative.
Yeah,
it's the most important piece of what we do. And there's that happy dance and fine line between exploitation of those that we serve. We don't want to exploit them to tell their story, but it's important for our community to learn, to grow, and to know.
That's right.
Yeah. We have something at Hope House where we say we empower, we educate, and we improve. And that's what we need to do for our community. We need to empower them, educate them, and then make an improvement plan.
That's right.
Because we have to be able to take care of our neighbors in need.
And that's where Little Smiles came from. After spending a
Absolutely.
year in the hospital myself, staring at the ceiling,
Mm-hmm.
two things happened. I was a designer, and every ceiling had a story.
Connect the dots. Did you play the Connect the Dots with that?
And just, those kids need our support
Absolutely.
during difficult times.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love your mission. I love what you do. I love that there are kids in our community that are feeling the love by
me too.
our neighbors that are donating to and just coming alongside of them and
We
saying,
had a phone call last week. I have collected 8 brand new bikes for you. When can I deliver them?
wow.
And that
That's
alone
so
is
awesome.
just such a beautiful gift.
And I've been to your storage room. We've talked about this several times. It is such a happy place. It really is. And I know we have a storage place now in the same building as you. And I'm like, but it doesn't feel like Margi's place. It doesn't feel.
Well, I have 2 of them now. So if you ever want to play,
Wow.
let me know.
I will.
I did give you that monkey or bear.
Bear.
The bear.
Mm-hmm. He is a mainstay in the children's playroom. They unfortunately, this group is jumping on him, so we have to teach them some respect to the
Yes.
bear and get them to treat him a little kinder for sure. But he's a snuggly big guy, and I had a lot of fun driving around with him in my front seat.
I'm sure you did.
I did. He had a seatbelt on and everything. So I know when we come back, I am super excited about our guest today. I don't know her, so I'm going to be learning with our listeners, and we've already have a few things in common, and I'm excited to hear about how she makes hope happen in our community. And I'm hoping to learn a lot like you. If you're listening and you want to call in, 844-STUDIO-4, we would love to take your call.
Yes, we would.
And it's going to be an exciting 45 minutes here, so strap
And she has something as a surprise for those who do.
I am excited to hear about that too. Like I said, I'm on this journey with our listeners and hoping that we all learn together. So when we come back, we will be learning a lot together.
More informative discussion about people and groups doing good in our community coming up. It's Community Centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on WSIC.
Well, not going to see a whole lot more sunshine as we go throughout the rest of this week. Clouds are with us today with the occasional patch of drizzle from time to time. High temperatures still back in the mid-40s for our Tuesday. Rain chances go up a bit each day as we head toward the end of the week. An isolated shower tomorrow for our Wednesday. Temperatures climbing up too in the 50s tomorrow. Best chance for rain this week going to be Thursday into Friday. Temperatures climb to the 60s then too. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. MuralFest is back, April 25th through the 28th at Wilkes Community College. Featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information can be found at muralfest.org. Listen each morning to Good Morning LKN for your chance to win tickets. Want to attend the Greater Charlotte Home and Landscape Show? How about the Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show? Throughout the day, you have your chance to win tickets. Listen to Good Morning LKN, the Home Ad Show, the News Drive at 5, and the Scoreboard. Each show gives you your chance to win.
Testing. Thank you, yeah.
February 23rd through the 25th. The Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show, January 26th through the 28th. Mooresville's Parks and Recreation is excited to bring The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater to the Charles Mack Citizen Center, Saturday, February 10th. This is not your usual murder mystery experience. An evening of theater and mystery that will have you laughing and gasping. The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater, Saturday, February 10th. For more info, visit ourtownstage.com. Chi-Town Transit Authority is coming to Kane Center for the Arts, Saturday, February 3rd. Come hear the 8-piece Chicago tribute band, horn and woodwind sections included. Chi-Town Transit Authority, Kane Center for the Arts, Saturday, February 3rd. KaneArts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Now, more community-centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back. I have a special guest today who I cannot wait to share with you. We share the same sort of story in our childhood. Yeah. And she found her way to be a chiropractor. I found my vent with little smiles. Mm-hmm. And for all of you who are out there listening, please feel free to call in at 844-STUDIO-4. Dr. Leslie Wells, who lives right here in Cornelius. And where's your office?
Actually, I have a residential practice currently right here in Cornelius.
Okay.
Yeah, like the basement. It has its own office, entrance and so on. Yeah.
And for a formal introduction, which I haven't really done yet, you are not an ordinary chiropractor.
No, we'd say that this is beyond chiropractic at this point. Beyond.
Well, you look at the whole body, mind, and everything.
Yeah.
I love one of the lines in her bio that says, aligning spines, minds, and lives to create a whole new reality. Wow. Check, check, and check.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I guess that's what I'm going to be doing next week for me.
Yeah, and I'm next.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll get you on the table and
so now
experience
what's
the magic.
your story? What got you headed in this direction of healing?
Well, like you, it started when I was young, a teenager. At 14, we discovered that I had a severe spinal disorder called scoliosis.
My daughter has that.
Does she?
Yes.
Okay. I had severe spinal curvature, and they wanted to operate immediately.
Right.
Like it was very severe. I had noticed that something didn't seem right even when I was 12, but nobody paid attention, you know.
Sure.
And ultimately, when my mother and I saw the X-rays, it was like horrifying, and so it catapulted me into a new journey in life. I had surgery with a rod that fused 12 joints in my spine. I was in a body cast for 9 months.
Yeah.
I was born with a determined spirit, And so I was determined that this wasn't going to hold me back in life. In fact, later on, I was actually jogging when I had the body cast on, if you can believe that.
And I'm thinking at 14, what a pivotal time that is in our lives anyway, as young girls, right? And to be seen with a body cast and to have those sort of stops, that must have been challenging.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. But I mean, I was so determined to not let it get me down. And I wasn't in pain, thankfully.
Yeah,
at
my
that
daughter
time.
wasn't either.
Right. She
So
had the
I
fusion.
called my daughter once
Mm.
a couple years ago, and she has 2 boys. And I said, "So what did you do today?" And she said, "Well, Mom, you're not going to believe this, but I went skydiving." She's jumping out of planes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
So, yeah, it has not slowed her down either.
I became a cheerleader again. After I got the cast off and everything, I cheered in junior high, high school, college, and post grad. I think I was the oldest cheerleader on the planet. In chiropractic school, they developed a sports program with the undergraduate program, and the president brought on cheerleaders. We were actually paid; it was a part-time job. Everybody had experience either in college or professionally, for professional ball teams. So, yeah, amazing how resilient the body is.
Yes.
Right? And you'd be
Well,
surprised.
especially when the mind and the body works together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, ultimately, we begin to, science is proving that the limitations that we perceive in this world are not real. And in fact, I just have to throw this in. The Nobel Prize in 2022, in December of 2022, the Nobel Prize for Physics was awarded to 3 scientists who have proven that there is no objective reality. Okay. Now, we've known for a little while in science that an observer changes the outcome of an experiment. Okay, if they're working with subatomic particles, if someone is watching, they behave differently than if no one's watching. So essentially, if I just brought it into the simplest understanding, what science is proving with quantum dynamics, okay, is that life is in service to the observer. Our perspective, the lens we look through, and what we believe and expect has a massive directing power over how life shows up.
Right.
I call it faith consciousness.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, when I was in, 16 and was told I'd never walk again, and I came home from the hospital, my father gave me my own private line because he didn't want me tying up the house phone. I had the Yellow Pages, the Bible, and a radio. We didn't have TV then. And that just tells how old I am. Anyway, and I was going through the Yellow Pages, just looking under doctors, thinking, and I saw the word chiropractor. I couldn't say it, didn't know what it was, but I called him, and I told him my story. And he said, "Does your mother know what you're doing?" And I said, "No." And I said, "I have my own line." And I said, "I'm not worried what my mother thinks. I'm worried about what my doctor thinks." So I said, I've got his private line. Would you call him and ask him if he thinks this is a good idea? But let me call him first and introduce. He was over there that night at 6:30, and every night came after his clients to work on me. And I said, I will be walking by the end of July.
So you were bedridden and unable to walk, and this chiropractor showed up to your home every night until he had you walking.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't date yourself with the TV or the phone. You dated yourself with a doctor that makes home visits. 'Cause they don't do that anymore. So
I got gray hair to prove it.
That's amazing, Margie. Good for you. Wow. That was an angelic presence of someone that would be willing to do that, to come and do that to help you save your life.
Well, and I believed in myself.
Yeah.
And then I was telling you the story of my son when he was 15, had a diving accident, hit the bottom, broke his neck, And he was told he would never walk again. Now, I couldn't, he said, Mom, who's the doctor that healed you? And I said, you're screwed to the wall in the hospital. They're not going to come and adjust you.
Wow.
So I had a Reiki specialist and a reflexologist come. And when he said to me he could feel them working on his feet, I knew he'd walk again.
Oh, that's amazing.
And
that's
it is.
beautiful.
It is. But I mean,
That's
he
beautiful.
had the mindset too. And I kept saying to him, just keep seeing yourself as walking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is so important. What we imagine, what we envision. When my clients come in, what I do, we do look at what their concern is, at what their disability is, or what their challenge is right now. And then I say, from here on, we're focusing on where we're going, not where you've been.
That's right.
And by the way, this is not about going back to who and how you were before the problem came up. It's about moving forward
Yes.
to the new version of you, because every challenge in life, including our physical body's challenges, bring us growth and advancement. We're moving away from our designed destiny when we try to take ourselves backwards. Every challenge is an opportunity for growth and advancement. It's why we're here. So as we decide to allow ourselves to receive the gift of this pain, the gift of this message that the body is bringing us, there's a gift behind it.
Yeah.
And an opportunity to move into more than you were before
right.
it came up.
Yes.
And that's where we focus. That's where I position my clients' minds, and I put my mind there with them. And as we join together, the Bible says when two or more come together in my name, in my presence, the name is the energetic signature. Okay, when we connect with the field of the infinite, which we are a part of, and we understand that our bodies are made of energy. Ultimately, if we're treating just the physical, we're essentially treating the effect or the symptom, not the true cause, because the deepest core is just particles and waves and mostly empty space. And when we understand that and begin to wrap our head around, I'm not going to be limited by what I used to think of something being permanent or this body being solid or some situation being unchangeable, then we line up for magic and miracles, okay? Because it seems miraculous when we access the energetic.
I'm tingling.
Right?
I am too. I
Okay.
am like fascinated.
Yeah.
When we access the energetic template, everything's possible. Energy can't be created or destroyed, but it changes form, okay? And what we think is limited because we see it as solid, let's step aside that for a moment and think of a martial artist who has a trained mind and focuses on a concrete block and puts their thought through the other side of that block. What you focus on raises frequency, okay? When we point our attention to something with laser sharp focus, we're raising the frequency. We kind of activate the energetic state of what we're focusing on. And a martial artist can do that, take their soft tissue, fleshy hand and put it right through a concrete block and break that concrete.
Yeah.
Now, in our logical minds and thinking of the laws of matter, that's not physically possible. But energetically.
We're going to go to break, and we come back. Hold that thought, because
Oh
I'm
my gosh,
fascinated.
I am too.
I don't want you to stop talking, but we have to take a station break. We'll be right back.
More Community Centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on the way from 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Well, not going to see a whole lot more sunshine as we go throughout the rest of this week. Clouds are with us today with the occasional patch of drizzle from time to time. High temperatures still back in the mid-40s for our Tuesday. Rain chances go up a bit each day as we head toward the end of the week. An isolated shower tomorrow for our Wednesday. Temperatures climbing up too in the 50s tomorrow. Best chance for rain this week going to be Thursday into Friday. Temperatures climbing to the 60s then too. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Hello, everyone. This is Joshua Doby, president of North Main Financial Group. At North Main Financial Group, we move to where you need us. Investment management, insurance planning, and estate strategies. No two people are the same, so we customize our planning based upon your needs. Reach out to us at northmainfinancial.com. That's northmainfinancial.com.
We're for Washington. We love Febrez's new scent. Refresh and energize.
So much we made a song about it.
Progressive presents an ad from Mom.
Hello? Is it on? Oh, okay. Bundle your home and auto insurance with Progressive and get protection round the clock. Round the clock? Does this generation even understand what round the clock means? But don't come, I'm just saying, because don't come to me when they ask for to do this over, because the kids won't get it.
Get round-the-clock protection when you bundle and save with Progressive. It's easier than getting your mom to make this radio ad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks. Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Community Centered continues now. Here are your hosts, Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome. I forgot about my musical intro there. So welcome, listeners. We are so excited you are listening to us on 105.9. We have the most remarkable guest today, Dr. Leslie Wells. And even, I said this to Bill jokingly in the beginning of the show, that in the interlude time, the time when we're not being recorded, so some of the best stuff comes out of that time when we're just chatting it up. So maybe we might want to think about how we can work that into the show. But she is fascinating. And we were just talking about a method that she's learned about in synchronicity of the spirit. I had already talked about it this morning with someone else. So I just love how everything is coming together here in this short time. And I truly believe that the time we have with her today is not long enough for everything that we need to say. So, Dr. Leslie, what inspires you to create this platform and this kind of practice that you have? Because, you say doctor of chiropractic and people are thinking, you're going to crack my neck. Oh, you're going to crack my back, or you're going to line me or something like that. But the fact that you have this holistic approach to adding in the spiritual piece and the here and the now and the what is it in the Bible? It says, physician, heal thyself, right? Like you all of that, you pull it together. You're the real deal.
Life is the real deal. And every one of us is here for a specific purpose. We all have kind of a joint cumulative purpose that's about advancement. It's about becoming more. It's about fulfilling our destiny as divinity in bodies, of being the expression as the image of God, okay? Jesus said, I call you my brothers and sisters, so to speak, okay? That ultimately we are evolving, but we have a personal destiny as well. And I believe that we're born into a soul journey where our experiences early in life often bring us challenges that set us up for what we're here for.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
To where, and so me, what seems like a tragedy at the time can be the opportunity and the launching pad of your greatest gifts and potential in your life and what you're here to become. And that journey has brought me to the outside the box methods that I'm using in my practice, in my life, in my mindset. My life has been, I look back, it's been an adventure, an amazing journey. So what seemed like a crisis,
Right.
I'm sure to my parents, they had the most challenging time. In fact, I have a twin brother, and just after I got home from having my spinal fusion surgery and this body cast put on, and I wasn't able to walk well enough to go back to school yet, my twin brother had a serious motorcycle accident. He was on the back of a motorcycle. We were only 14, and had a serious head injury that he wasn't expected to survive. And he had brain damage he did come out of the coma, and they didn't think that he would walk again. Ultimately, he healed, I healed. Chiropractic care helped me tremendously because after coming out of my cast and becoming a cheerleader and all of that, I ended up with a lot of low back pain. Most of my spine's fused right down to one joint there at the bottom. And a chiropractor changed my life by delivering me from that pain, okay? My brother, alongside me, he had his own journey of healing and ultimately overcame what seemed to be permanent damage to his brain. He was playing soccer in high school. He even went to college on a soccer competition. I mean, not competition. What's it called?
Soccer scholarship.
Scholarship. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah. So he was playing at a college level. So both of us, I have to look back at my father and mother, but especially my dad. He was like a faith warrior. He just was so committed to a positive belief and blended that with his faith in God and just stood on promises, stood on what's possible, not what's not possible.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? When we understand what we were talking about earlier, this world as an energetic reality, everything's possible. Okay. Peter can get out of the fishing boat and walk on the water. He was a regular human looking at Jesus Christ. When he was focused, when he was believing, when he was a vibrational match in his belief and his energetic output, he was consenting to the laws of energy above the laws of matter. And he was able to defy gravity and walk on water until the Bible says, over here to the side comes a brewing storm. He notices the turbulence. He notices the storm coming and the waves getting rough. And he lost his focus and moved into fear and started to sink. And that's what happens in our lives. When we can find that faith focus and bring the cells of our body into alignment with that, every healing is possible. And the method that I use, or the blend of methods I use, help the nervous system itself to release fear consciousness and we move from the stress response, that's called the sympathetic response, to the parasympathetic peace response. It's really hard to move into belief and strength and positive focus when your nervous system is in a state of survival. Your body is going to dictate, I feel like I'm being threatened. It's almost impossible to access a higher view when that's what your cells are vibrating, and your nervous system is wired for that. So when we can intervene and help the body find its breath and release that sense of fear and tension and move into trust, then we relax. And there's so many methods of relaxing now. That even the Center for Disease Control has determined that more than 96% of illness is related to stress.
Yes.
So what does that say?
Well, I think I read once where the word dis-ease.
Yes.
Dis-ease,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Is you not being at ease with yourself.
That's
and,
right.
Fascinating. Tell me, how are folks, when they come to you, are they receptive and open to that concept and wanting, to experience that kind of healing?
Well, some are and some are not. You know, for a lot of people, it's a new conversation, okay? But I take their hand and help explain, okay? We do start with a history of looking at their physical, chemical, and mental, emotional stresses in the history. And from there, we begin to put together a vision and a plan for what would best suit their needs, okay? So we start with the very tangibles of their own life experience, okay? Then I'm the bridge that helps transition them from what they've known to these new concepts that we're talking about today. Science has shown it. This is not new information. 100 years ago, Albert Einstein and his colleagues proved that this, which seems like solid matter, is actually an energetic world that we live in. It's mostly empty space with particles and waves. So things aren't as they appear. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge this world by its appearance. And when you begin to see through eyes that allow you to believe for things differently than you used to, you open up the gateways of possibility. And we live in a field of infinite possibility if we can line up with the possibility that we choose. That's what's going to come through. And my tools in my practice help practically tune the body, and my coaching, the mind, to line up with that possibility. So we do see amazing life changes.
So what would, in essence, a treatment plan look like for someone? Someone comes to you, they're saying, oh, I have a little tension in my neck, I have a very stressful job. What would that look like?
Well, in my work, my practice is never limited to, a hammer and a nail and working on that one thing, okay? Kind of in allopathic medicine, that's what we do. We disintegrate the person and focus on one thing, okay? Whereas what we're doing is healing the whole self, okay? So because if you get rid of a physical something, and this mental stress is still over here, and all those fears,
you're going to feel it somewhere else.
Or it's just going to come back. Yeah. It's just a matter of time, right? Because you haven't gotten to the core cause. So we really work with the whole thing. Now, what we do is we'll go through this history. We'll talk. We'll set a vision and a goal. What would you love more of in your life? More ease in my spine. I want more flexibility. I want to be able to play pickleball again, okay, or golf, okay? I want to get rid of insomnia. A lot of people who have that kind of pain also have some challenges with their sleep, and that is also a function related to stress as well. The nervous system has to be at a state of ease to be able to get good sleep. Whatever their aim is, even when it's appearance, relationships, healing a wound with a child, a relational wound. All of these things are connected. We come into a vision for life, and then we set up a potential multifaceted program, but the one foundation that's common to all is my network emergence care. That's this energetic spinal and body-mind session.
When we come back from break, we're talking with Dr. Leslie Wells, and we're going to learn about how you can get in touch with her. If at the end of the show, 844-STUDIO-4, you want to call, please call in. We have ample time to talk to you, and we're listening to 105.9.
Discussion about people and groups doing good in our community coming up. It's Community Centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on WSIC.
Well, not going to see a whole lot more sunshine as we go throughout the rest of this week. Clouds are with us today with the occasional patch of drizzle from time to time. High temperatures still back in the mid-40s for our Tuesday. Rain chances go up a bit each day as we head toward the end of the week. An isolated shower tomorrow for our Wednesday. Temperatures climbing up too in the 50s tomorrow. Best chance for rain this week going to be Thursday into Friday. Temperatures climbing to the 60s then too. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. MuralFest is back, April 25th through the 28th at Wilkes Community College. Featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information can be found at muralfest.org. Listen each morning to Good Morning LKN for your chance to win tickets. Want to attend the Greater Charlotte Home and Landscape Show? How about the Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show? Throughout the day, you have your chance to win tickets. Listen to Good Morning LKN, the Home Ad Show, the News Drive at 5, and the Scoreboard. Each show gives you your chance to win. The Greater Charlotte Home and Garden Show, February 23rd through the 25th. The Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show, January 26th through the 28th. Mooresville's Parks and Recreation is excited to bring The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater to the Charles Mack Citizen Center, Saturday, February 10th. This is not your usual murder mystery experience. An evening of theater and mystery that will have you laughing and gasping. The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater, Saturday, February 10th. For more info, visit ourtownstage.com. Chi-Town Transit Authority is coming to Kane Center for the Arts, Saturday, February 3rd. Come hear the 8-piece Chicago tribute band, horn and woodwind sections included. Chi-Town Transit Authority, Kane Center for the Arts, Saturday, February 3rd. KaneArts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Now, more Community Centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back, listeners. You're listening to Community Centered. I'm your host, Debbie O'Hanley, with my friend Margi Kyle and our fascinating guest today.
I know.
Dr. Leslie Wells. I wish you could see both Margi's face and I. We're just kind of like with our mouths open going, we're hungry little birds. Feed us. Give us more. Give us more. Fascinating information. Again, we said if you needed to call the studio and you have a question, 844-STUDIO-4 or 844-788-3464. And again, we are streaming live on WSICnews.com and all of your social media, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and X and LinkedIn. And we are where local starts here on WSIC. Dr. do you like to be called Dr. Leslie or
Sure.
Dr. Wells?
Dr. Leslie, yeah.
Dr. Leslie.
Mhm.
I have learned a tremendous amount today, but I'm sitting here thinking as you're talking that there are listeners that are wondering, how do they get in touch with you? Where do we find you?
Sure. So there's two ways that people can reach out to me right now, and one is through my website, faithconsciousness.com. That's FAITH. Consciousness is CONSCI, like science, SCIOUSNESS. It's amazing how difficult that word is to spell. And there's a messaging platform on that. Okay, if they want to reach out to me, I'll be contacted through my phone, and we can text or message through that route, or they can actually call my business line, and that comes to my business cell phone when we're not in the office itself, and people can text me there, and we can get together on setting up an appointment or discussing what their needs are. That number is 704-909-7130. Again, 704-909-7130. Those are the two ways people can reach me. And I wanted to just throw in there that for your listeners today, I felt moved to make a special offer and say I'm happy to give you a 20-minute free consultation by phone or in person. You can come in and sit with me in my practice to the show listeners, just to talk a little bit about what's going on for you in your body, mind, health.
Right.
And what you might like to see improved with that and how we might be able to help.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That's a lovely gift to offer our community. Community-centered is all about putting hope and healing and laughter with a smile back in our lives. And I think that's a very generous offer that you're willing to bring to our community. And I'm excited.
I mean, I have always gone to a chiropractor. I just think they're so beneficial.
Absolutely.
For your mind and body.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Because it's directly impacting the central nervous system, which includes your brain.
That's right.
Okay. We are perceiving and responding to our world through that nervous system.
Yeah.
So the brain and spinal cord are central to all of our experience in life and whether we're expressing health or not. Okay. My particular technique does not include any manipulation, okay?
Good, yeah.
There's no bone cracking and that sort of thing. There's actually, it's fascinating, there's light touches to points along the spine called spinal gateways, kind of like reflexology and acupuncture, where you have a certain point that's special. When you activate it, it actually creates a positive response somewhere else in the body. That's how these points are. They cause the brain to find where there's stored tension around the spinal cord at different levels of the spine. This tension stores energy and information from previous perceived trauma. Okay, layer upon layer, like layers of an onion skin, we're able to cause the nervous system to find that tension. And when the brain becomes aware of it, I mean, the reason it's still held there is because we've kind of disconnected and we're not feeling the fact that that's going on right now. That's why the body ever doesn't heal itself, because we're self-healing organisms. So when we start plugging in and our awareness is awakened and the brain goes, oh my, this isn't appropriate to hold this tension in my lower neck.
Yeah.
Okay, then it will cause the body to develop strategies to release that tension on its own. At first, the body tends to move to the breath. So people like, just take a deep sigh while they're on the table. Okay, then ultimately there are movement patterns that wake up, that are predictable and reproducible. Babies, children, and adults have the same responses, and the body develops a healing wave through the spine that we call a somatopsychic wave. It means a body-mind wave. But it's not like something takes you over. You just feel an urge to kind of wiggle, and it eventually organizes itself into this flowing sequential undulation of the muscles around the spine, like a dolphin swimming. And so people, I actually work in groups of 3. So 3 people can be in the room on tables. They're fully clothed and face down. Music is playing. I go to each one and contact the points that the body indicates are appropriate for that type of tension pattern. And then I stand back and watch. And people's bodies begin to release that tension spontaneously. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds like a new method of acupuncture.
Well, and beyond, because even acupuncture doesn't stimulate this rolling wave, okay? And there's even more strategies that awaken. It's like a self-organizing spine is what ultimately comes forward. And as that tension is released and your body is kind of peeling those layers of the past, I mean, you open up to a new you. Everything, all those layers have been kind of obstructing our deepest, most authentic self. And it makes us be able to move into our hearts and be more who we really were here to be without all the protective mechanisms blocking that. So people's lives change.
Yeah.
You know, now it doesn't happen in one session. This is almost like an education for your nervous system. But once the body has progressed to where it has these strategies, it will do them on its own for the rest of your life. Isn't that fascinating? I'm certain we're activating dormant brain function.
That's fascinating to me, really and truly. How do you weave biblical teachings and principles into your practice?
Well, you see, my pathway into awareness at all really stemmed from even as a child, my Christian upbringing. I had a deep heart for God. I mean, I was holding a Bible when I went to elementary school. And, I just had my heart awakened to a love for God early on. And as my journey has progressed, my own path has moved far kind of outside of the structured religious system. Not to say, that is a system that brings great gifts, but it's not in total all that there is.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
And so my path, as I moved from structural chiropractic care to this energetic method, my own awareness started getting higher. And I started actually having a deepened prayer life and having dreams and visions and even revelations really while I was working. And ultimately, I became kind of a bridge in my own life and consciousness between the body, mind, and scriptures. Okay, I could see it's like the connections were shown to me. I'm going to call it divine revelation. But ultimately, where science now is able, and what we understand scientifically, is able to be brought to a new understanding of the Bible. So it means, and I'll give a quick example, okay? The Bible says Moses, when he went to the mountaintop to receive these tablets from God, the 10 Commandments, so he's in what I call the God frequency. He was in communion with the divine quite directly. And when he comes down from that mountaintop, the scriptures say his face was so bright that it was blinding.
Mm-hmm.
They put a bag over his head because nobody could. So what I'm saying here is what was happening, we entrain to the frequency energetically that surrounds us, and the highest frequency wins. So when someone is communing with a very, very high frequency, and I'll translate into this language and call it the God frequency. Now that surpasses the limitations of religious thought. It's beyond that. When we commune in that way, we begin to morph into that ourselves. Moses was turning into light, okay? And in our own way, each of us is destined to be able to connect with that God frequency. And as we do, we become lighter ourselves in our mind, in our state of being. We can become lights on the planet Earth. When we talk about people, healers being light workers, okay, they're communing more and more with this frequency. And my message, the way my life has brought me to where I am now, has perfectly aligned me to be a bridge that translates now spirit and scriptures and crosses that back and forth to help people access a new understanding of what's possible and an outside the box, the previous limitations we've had on understanding their role as a soul and their communion with that which we call God. Yeah, it's about bringing heaven on earth. Yeah.
In a very dark time.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's important now.
It's so important. The time is now to open up and listen and receive. And so I'm so grateful, Margie, to you inviting your guest and for me being an active listener. I'm just engrossed.
I feel very light and airy.
Well, for a bit there, my neck was hurting because I was like, oh, maybe I'm carrying a little too much weight. But I got a little lighter as the time went in.
You have to feel it to heal it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we always say that trauma is not an event, it's an injury. So we understand. We speak the same love language for sure.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for coming today.
Can I throw my number in there one more time?
Sure, please do.
Folks, it's faithconsciousness.com or 704-909-7130. 704-909-7130.
You're listening to Community Centered with Margi Kyle and Debbie O'Hanley and the lovely Dr. Leslie Wells.
Thank you.
We will be back next week.
The new 105.9, 100.7 WSIC, Statesville, Mooresville, North Charlotte.